When was the last time you had a deep conversation about dating, finding a job, reaching our goals, and all the other intricate areas that make up our 20s? Every episode, I talk about these topics with real young adults who are living and learning along with the rest of us. If you want to hear how your peers are dealing with and conquering these areas of life, tune in. This is Building the Blueprint. Ava Propstra, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. You're a busy woman. Grateful to get some time.
This is true, but I'd always make time for this.
You always make,
Always make time for this.
Ava. We're going to do 60 seconds rapid fire questions so we can get to know you better. Super easy ones, don't worry.
Sounds
Be
good.
very chill. You ready? 60 seconds?
Yep, go.
Where are you from?
Arizona.
What's your major?
Double major in global studies and Spanish with a double minor in science communications and legal studies.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
Any siblings?
Yes, I have 2.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Favorite movie? Or one of?
I'm going to say anything by Marvel.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee.
One thing you can't live without?
My siblings.
Dream job?
Ambassador for the United States.
One thing most people don't know about you?
I competed nationally in improv.
Bang. Ava crushed it.
Oh, thanks.
And I'm not going to let that slide. You competed nationally in improv?
I did.
Please tell me more.
I started in middle school and I was selected for the team to compete for Arizona in the National Improv.
Was this like a club?
It was through my theater program.
Okay.
And it was probably one of the most fun that I ever had. I did participate in theater. I'm a theater kid.
Is there improv here?
There is a theater improv club, but I do not partake in it.
All right, if you go, I'll come. I've never done improv, but I do think it'd be so funny.
Improv is, I think, one of the best things I ever did. When I was a kid, I didn't think I was going to go to college, and I was planning on joining Second City in Chicago and making my way to SNL or Groundlings in LA.
Yeah.
But here I am, double major in global studies and Spanish.
Yeah, I didn't even hear what you said. You were just spitting out more majors, and I was like, wow.
I do because I'm a tour guide, and it sounds really cool in my introduction. That's my whole thing.
We're a tour guide.
We're a tour guide. This is true.
I'm still mad I never ran into you.
I know. I wish a lot of people said that. And it's super fun to run into like friends when you're on a tour because it's like, just makes or breaks. Like, I'm like, can I talk about all these people? And I'm like, oh, like I'm friends with this person. I'm like, oh, my friend does this. Yeah. And then it's like, I talked to no one during my tour route. They're like, so where are these friends?
I was just waiting to see you and be like, hey, but did you get that rash fixed? They're like, what? Just finding ways to embarrass you.
Just make it horrible. And everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, like, hey, but did you get to retake that test? I heard you got a 0.
Ava, didn't you get expelled?
Ava, where's your ankle monitor? What?
It's usually though people just say happy birthday. Oh, which is pretty fun. But it's like there's like this one time where I'm like, oh, like they're joking or whatever. There's like mom came up to me, she's like, it's my birthday too, and I'm like, birthday twins, and I had to like went along with it. Oh, got tipped at the end, so
all right, so
kind of fire.
Tell me, what was it like doing the first one? Because that's got to be terrifying.
Oh my gosh, I also got hired as a first year.
Wow.
So I only completed 1 term at the University of Oregon before I started giving tours.
And they're an hour?
90 minutes.
Sheesh.
So I only was like, I'm like, well, I've taken 3 classes here. I'm qualified to do this, and kind of ran with it. But I was super, super nervous. I don't know why, because I knew all the information. And also I love connecting with people and telling them about like all the awesome things that we have at the U of O, especially because I think it's interesting that I didn't originally want to come here. But now I say like, oh, now I give tours and I talk about how much I love it. So just like really emphasizing, I think, my tour of keeping an open mind and like just like hearing all your options. But I was so nervous. And I told them at the end, I was like, this is my first tour. And I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. And then I said that for my 3 more tours in case I messed up.
Yep.
And
so everybody knows my first tour of
ever.
Today. Just like slip of today on your breath.
I had a little like, this hour.
Yeah.
But I love giving tours. It's probably one of my favorite jobs I've ever had.
And you being good at improv, I feel like that's got to go with it. Because there's got to be times you forget what to say.
Oh, 100%.
You're just like making stuff unofficial. You don't work there anymore. It's fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say make things up, but definitely when I like started, I had like my script that I'd follow. And then once it was like my 3rd year of doing it, I was just like, wow, this is this building. Got tested here this one time,
pretty
and
chill.
Yeah, it's great. Environmental science.
I got my tour from a frat guy who was a senior at the time. It was the funniest thing. He goes, "That's the library." He goes, "You know, now that I think about it, I've never been there.
You're in spring term senior. I was like, what? He was like, that's the MU. Great burritos. And he was just like,
Fire Chipotle.
yeah. My dad and I were on a tour. We didn't make it 10 minutes. We go, oh, bikes. We were like, what? And we're like, let's go on the bikes.
Self-tour. No, that's huge. But love moving tours. And I love doing, like, I think improv definitely gave me the backbone for me to, like, have such, like, I think it was a fantastic tour. I got a lot of great feedback on it. So that's what I'm basing off of. But I love improv. I don't do it anymore, which breaks my heart. But it was, like, such a great experience. And it really prepared me for, going through sorority life and leadership experience and XYZ. Interviewing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to pick it back up. If you go, I'm so down. For real.
Oh, my gosh. Well, my friends and I, we usually go to the improv club shows.
Oh,
and
like they have one, like, weekly or monthly?
They have one, like, usually once a term.
Okay. There you go. There you go.
It's usually they don't like our suggestions, though.
Okay.
I don't really know what's up with that.
I don't know what's going on. I thought they were funny.
I'd give you the great material.
Drew Brawny. They're like, for the fourth time, we can't repeat.
One time, it was, they like play this one game. I love this game.
Okay.
It's like it's like a party game.
Yeah.
So what you do is it's like somebody leaves the room and then you have 3 improvers and each one is given like some kind of characteristic. So like one's usually like an inanimate object. So it's like a lamp. And then one person has like a weird characteristic. So it's like, they say like in every sentence, or they can't help but twirl with their hair the whole time. And the other person is like a celebrity. So you play like Lightning McQueen. And then the person has to come in and guess who these characters are. So you have to kind of like embody the characters. And then it's always fun when the audience is like knows what they are and the person who's guessing does it.
Yeah.
So they go for the characteristic and they're like, give us a characteristic. My sister and I are like, crop duster. They did not pick that.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, I think that was great material. There was a lot to work with.
A lot you could go with that. Like, does anyone else smell that? It involves the other characters too, because you can't be the one to say it.
Thank you. It's like, someone just let it candle.
You're like, man, that was a great burrito earlier.
So much good material.
So much you could do with that.
So then when we go to the next show,
yeah,
we'll be using crop dusters.
Okay.
Until they pick crop duster, I'm good at be saying crop duster.
Have you seen the videos? I like the ones where they like pick a playing card and you have to embody the playing card and guess it.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, it's like two of clubs. Yes. Like
those.
Hey.
It's like 7 of diamonds, and you're just like,
yeah, you're like queen. You're like, hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it looks so good on you.
It's like, oh, it's your lovely Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah,
But-
it's so good.
Yeah.
We can do that. We have to. Now that I'm thinking about it, we're gonna have to like do improv.
So actually, about my 21st birthday party, funny that you mentioned this.
Whoa.
We are going to break out into an improv scene.
Done.
Okay, perfect.
Done.
Glad you're on board.
I can't wait. So do you think improv has to do with like your personableness? I don't know if that's a word or not, but you're very, very personable, right?
Oh, that's
like,
very sweet.
Like you're very smiley, you're very funny, you're very go with the flowy, right? Which a lot of people aren't.
Yeah.
Do you think that plays a role in it?
Oh, 100%. I think when I was growing up, like, being the middle child, very much going with the flow, and having to...
Both brothers?
No, older brother and then a younger sister. And my older brother is a very outgoing person. Also was a beta man. At fraternity life at University of Florida. And he's very outgoing. My dad, incredibly outgoing. And so they really like encouraged me to like, be an outgoing person. That I found my outlet like through the stage.
Yeah.
But going with the flow, that yes and 100%. Definitely learned that all from theater. And doing that large like teamwork and collaboration at such a young age, like in middle school, 100% prepared me for, I don't want to say like my personalness, but like I love connecting with other people. I love getting to know others. And that's why sorority life was a big draw for me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's something that I really enjoy.
Do you think you are a natural extrovert, or do you think you were kind of just in the right environment to be an extrovert?
Yeah. I think I was in the right environment to be an extrovert. My mom is an introvert. My sister, kind of both. Yeah, Teeter, she's definitely grown out of her shell a lot. So like most recently, like seeing her in high school has been like super fun.
Yeah.
But my mom, she'd get really, really nervous for my improv shows. She'd say like, I couldn't watch. Like she would be like turned away like in the audience.
Like secondhand embarrassment.
Just like she'd be like, she's going to mess up. Like she doesn't know what to say. Like she doesn't know anything. So it's funny, like the differences between my mom and my dad. And,
yeah. The yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was asked that because like when I was in high school, I was super, super introverted. And like now I'm pretty extroverted. And I'm always curious if that was something like that I willed myself into being extrovert, or if I was always an extrovert, I just wasn't in the right environment for it to come out yet.
I do kind of relate to that. In high school, I did not have a lot of friends. I just kind of had like my 2 really close friends,
Yeah, same.
and that was that. And, had some friends in, classes and whatnot. But during lunch, I also was a senior, and all the seniors take half days except for myself, because I really thought that I was going to go super far and go to a really hard to get into
Oh,
university.
you went from I'm not going to college to I'm going to Harvard.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
I flip-flop a lot between career paths, but it's fun because it's like I love to keep my options open.
Yeah.
And I'm a very much don't say no to yourself, let other people say no to you.
Mm.
And I'm usually like the people who are going to say yes is like where I'm meant to go. So I'm applying to everything. I did everything. I try everything. So
You don't ever get burnt out?
yeah, I do. But I think being an extrovert really helps with that. I'm definitely an extrovert. I'm probably the most extrovert I've ever been in my life,
Yeah.
being in college. When I was a first year, like I was really nervous to go. During recruitment, I was fine. Then later joining my chapter, I got really nervous, and I was like feeling like maybe like I kind of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I belong here, and I don't know if I'm like, these people are so much more extroverted than me, and blah blah blah. But then like I found my people, and I was like, oh, I'm 100% meant to be here, and that really helped me come out of my shell even more.
Yeah. I love that so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny too. Like, I was such a dick fucking when I was a freshman. I was like, I remember I'm in beta, but and my dad and my grandpa are in beta. So I was like, oh, I'll go to beta before it even unofficially before rush started, just because I was like, oh, I'll tour it out, see my alumni, right? I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I left. I was like, which ones are cool? I want those too, right? And then you get there, I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna get in, like I'm the man, right?
Oh, 100%.
And then you're like, you don't get a bid, and you're like, it humbles you so fast. And you're like,
E is like the first real rejection that you receive.
Yeah.
Usually is recruitment.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
Yeah.
For me, it was my college acceptance letters, because I got rejected from every single one of them except for University of Oregon. So that was really tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
I got into my 2 safety schools.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I got into here in IU. It was here, Indiana University.
Wow, I'm glad you chose here.
I changed the last second. I changed May 1st.
You're kidding. Why?
Well, all my family, both my parents went to IU. My aunt teaches at IU. My grandma lives 15 minutes from IU. My cousins go to IU. And so like I was going to go to IU because it was like, I'll be set up. It'll be fun. It'll be this, right? But just like where I was in that stage of life, I was very like motivated to like change and like kind of do something hard and like be a new person. And I knew if I wanted to be new, I knew if I wanted to feel like I earned it, it had to be somewhere where I didn't already know people. So I was like, I'm going to go to Oregon. I'm going to like try and be the man. I'm going to try and have fun and push myself and not play it safe at IU.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you made that decision.
Ava, thank you.
Of course.
I'm glad you made your decision.
Yeah, well, it was made for me.
Where did you apply?
I applied to Arizona State University and UC Santa Barbara, UC San Diego, Cal Poly SLO, and UCLA.
So hard ones.
Yes.
And then Oregon. No UA or ASU.
No, because I thought, I was like, for sure, I'm probably going to get into University of Oregon. And I think that'll be my true backup. And if I didn't, then I could easily apply to University of Arizona if I need to be. If I did choose to go to an in-state university, I would have gone to University of Arizona. So I don't know why I applied to ASU. But I was hoping to really go to the coast because I came in as a marine biology major. So
Really?
like I said, I fart around quite a bit. I'm hopping from place to place, from major to major.
Marine biology.
Yes.
And what do you know? 2, you're Spanish and
Global studies, which is like international relations.
So remind me what you said for dream job again.
I said a United States ambassador.
Yes, an ambassador. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to work for the federal government in that sense. I have my favorite classes on campus are anyone with cultural competency. And I've really been able to practice that like firsthand by studying abroad. I have lived in Spain for a cumulative of like 3 months now with 2 different host families. My host mom actually got me this top.
Oh.
But yeah, it was seriously such a great experience that it made me want to travel the world more, hear more about other people's things. And I've always considered being a public servant in the first place. And so I think like a U.S. ambassador is like right now the first thing that's like kind of on my mind.
Yeah. Are you allowed to talk about the job you almost got or no? We don't need to talk about it. But she almost got a really cool job.
It was a cool job. It was for General Service Administration, which is part of the federal government. They use citizens' tax dollars efficiently through different like federal government programs. It was for project management, which is probably something that I'm most interested in for a career path and probably the most realistic for a career path.
Yeah.
Just because that's what I do with like recruitment here on campus. And I do a lot of other stuff with like specifically like, managing a lot of is what I do.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited for that. But due to some of the executive orders that have recently come out, there's been a hiring freeze. And so they did have to cancel my internship, which it's been tough. It's been tough going back to the drawing board. If I have to look at another cover letter, it might be over for me.
Yeah. To write another ChatGPT, another cover letter.
I can't. And it's like ChatGPT at this point knows everything about me. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, can you tell them about my experience with this?
I've seen the memes about like whiplash and versus
Yes.
ChatGPT.
I think
Do it again.
Sound less AI. I
Yeah.
see those all the time, and I'm like, that's me.
Yeah. So how are you going about trying to find a new one then? Do you do
Mm.
a lot of like cold applying or do you do a lot of network?
Some of it has been networking. I like met with like 2 people that I was like hanging out with at like a fair, but it wasn't a career fair. And then I was like, oh, this is really interesting work that you all are doing. Like, can I perchance work here? And they're like, are you hiring? And they're like 100%. They gave me my card. So I sent in like all my information. But a lot of stuff is handshake. That is like, I'm applying to every single thing that pops up on there.
That is, yeah, that's always a weird dynamic of like hoping someone on handshake replies to you, but like the in-person one's always, or nice, especially if you're personable. Like
Mhm.
that's the superpower, right? Like that was my whole thing was like, out of all the jobs I've ever applied to online, I've only gotten one interview.
Wow.
And that one interview turned into a job opportunity. So my whole thing is like, just please, like, let me get in front of you, please.
I do really agree with that. Getting in front of somebody is like really important,
Yeah.
especially with the major like global studies in Spanish. I have a lot of soft skills without being like a business major or anything like that. I don't have a lot of hard skills to bring to the table. So I'm always like, let me be your personality hire. Let me talk to you.
Let me be fun. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, if you say on here, you're looking for a positive, optimistic, upbeat attitude, give me an interview, right?
Yeah. Funny enough, I was listening to a podcast recently and they were talking about like hiring.
Mhm.
It was talking about how like everyone always hires for like skill, like being able to do the skill, but it's like, no, hire for what's easier to teach. Like you have the 10 out of 10 personality and it's not going to take that long to teach you the skill. Hire the 10 out of 10 personality versus someone knows how to do the easy skill, but doesn't have a good personality. Like it's hard to teach personality.
I recently had an interview last week for a bilingual legal assistant in the area. That was
How'd it go?
it went really
I
well.
remember we talked about it.
Yeah, it went really well. It was half in Spanish, half in English. It was my first time giving a Spanish interview. I shit bricks. It was really hard. I've never.
It was a different type of Spanish too, wasn't it?
Yeah, she speaks Latin American Spanish and I speak Spain Spanish, but it's just more professional. Like when you're talking to obviously like a future boss, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's all about how you sell yourself. So it's like, I don't think I was that strong in my Spanish interview, but I was like, working here, I'm only going to get better. And I was like, I'm only going to improve. And
You said that?
yeah. And I was like, also before this interview, I was looking up interviews in Spanish. Like I'm practicing, like I'm here, like I'm committed. Like you want to hire me, like even though maybe my Spanish isn't 100% fluent. Good. Like,
You want someone who's dedicated and going to work hard and has the non-negotiables.
exactly.
I love that. So how do you get so much stuff done? We were teasing it earlier before we jumped on because it's like, I swear you show up and you're always so present. It never seems like you're like, damn, I got to get that other thing done.
Mhm.
Right? I think I definitely have that of like, I'll be here, but then sometimes I'll be like texting someone or like, because I need to like get something set up or like I'm here, but I'm thinking about like, I got to go do my OBA modules after this that are going to take me like 2 hours.
OBA.
How do you get so much done? Because you're clearly busy.
Yeah, I am a busy person. I love being busy. I love having stuff to do. I love being a part of a lot of different things. It really fills up my cup. So I don't see it as a burden at all to be busy. I really enjoy it. This term has definitely been lighter in my course load. I've just been taking 3 classes this term, which is my first time in my entire time as a student I've ever taken 3 classes. So that's been a lot of fun. And then also I did quit my job at the ambassador program. So it's like without a job, just been focusing a lot on recruitment, which honestly is a blessing because I really did need to focus on that. There's so much that needs to get done with that.
Yep.
But how I balance being busy. How do you balance it? Because you're a pretty busy person.
A lot of time management, a lot of structure.
Mhm.
Like my days are very, very structured. Like I am busy and I am productive and like people run into me and they're like, oh my gosh, you get so much done. But like if you leave me in my room with some food and a TV, like I'll be there all day.
Mhm.
Right. Like I'm like, that's the hardest part is like when I'm going, I'm really, really good. And when I'm stopped, I'm really, really bad. Right. Like it's
Yeah.
a lot of highs and lows. And so for me, it's a lot of structure with like making sure I have a meeting at 9.
Mhm.
Right. So like Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, I had something at 9. So I had to get up at 8 to like prepare and get ready because I had a podcast or a meeting or a call at 9.
Mhm.
If I didn't have that, I would have woken up at 10.
Yeah.
Right. Or right now I have to get my modules done. Right. If I go home, I'm going to eat food. I'm going to eat too much food. I'm going to be sleepy. I'm going to watch some TV, and then it's going to be 8:30, and then I'm going to want to go out.
Mhm.
So I'm going to stay here until I get it done and then go home. So like a lot of for me is like structuring my environment so that like I'm actually forced to get more done.
I'm saying I'm really similar. That discipline wise, like I don't do any homework at home.
Yeah.
Which is nice because then I know when I'm not as stressed as home because I know I have nothing to be doing if I'm home.
It feels like a nice place to be. It's a relaxing place to be.
Exactly.
That is
So
nice.
I try to do that anyways. I mean, sometimes, stuff slips through the crack and whatnot, but
Yeah.
definitely I'm like at the library, 4th floor is where I'm at. Or I do like a lot in the EMU. It's like I cannot go home until like I finish all my work. Also, I'm a huge planner. I have my planner set up. I have my Google Calendar ready to go.
Yep.
And then also I do my favorite stuff last.
Really, I like that.
So it's like I try to get like the stuff that's like really bogging me down kind of out of the way, especially once you get like the hardest thing out of the way, like everything also just seems so much easier.
Yeah.
Even though if it isn't even that much easier.
Yeah.
So that's how I schedule my life to get everything done, do all that good stuff. As I would say is like make my home like my actual home, which is I kind of got that from my sorority house is we had a sleeping porch and then we have like day rooms. So it's like the day rooms is like your couch, your TV, your desk, your everything. And it's like your sleeping porch is like where you actually sleep and like rest and I go on my phone. So it's like kind of that distinction like set me up really successfully for like living on my own. And so I've just kind of like taken that in stride.
Do you
That's
ever put in
helpful.
your calendar like 4 to 5 working on XYZ, like work on like English essay, or are you just kind of like 4 to 5 work?
I just like whenever my free periods are, because I'm usually pretty busy with like meetings and then class.
Yep.
And then also I work out as well. So it's like I usually put like my biggest things and then it's like, okay, like after workout, like I'm usually done at like 6:15. Then I'm in the EMU until I finish my work. And usually I'm pretty hungry after workout. So I'm finishing that ASAP.
As fast as you can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I always have to incentivize myself with like easiest thing first.
Mm.
Like I do agree that you have to get the hard things out first while you still have energy because you're going to burn out eventually. And it's like, it's easier to do the fun things. But I always like to get restarted, I always have to like, all right, I have to email someone. I'm like, that's easy.
Yeah.
Opposed to like, I have to do my 90 slides of OVA. So I'm going to continue to reference that. I can't wait to do.
I'm jealous.
Oh, it's fun.
Incredibly jealous.
It's one of those things too where it's like, I have no idea what these professors are saying. So like, I'm just going to take it online. Like I'll self-teach it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah. So when I deal with like the ebbs and flows, right? Like I was telling you, like I just kind of structure it. We kind of just touched on it, but like the same thing for you, just don't go home.
Just don't go home. Don't go home until you finish it. That's what I say. And I also make it whatever I have due is due 24 hours before it's actually due.
Oh, that's good.
So I
Fake deadlines.
fake deadlines and I tell myself the real.
It's good. Just gaslight yourself into it.
100%. This term has been really hard for me. And so it's like I haven't really been doing that. But traditionally in my career as a student, 24 hours before it's actually due, I always submit it. And which is nice. But I always hate it when like teachers like have something they do, but they have it unlocked. I'm like, let me work on it.
Yeah.
Let me get it done.
And you're like, let me get in there.
I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me in, please.
You're like, hello. That's good.
Yeah.
So you've been to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Where else?
Portugal,
Portugal.
London, Costa Rica.
You were abroad in London, right?
Mm-mm.
I think I thought you did summer abroad.
I did summer abroad in Spain,
Okay.
and then I was able to travel to London.
And where was the last one you said?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where in Costa Rica were you?
I backpacked for 10 days to my senior year of high school. I started on the East Coast, and I moved all the way to the West Coast, and I ended in Tortuguero.
Costa Rica is the favorite place. Costa Rica is so cool.
Everyone's beautiful.
So nice.
Yeah.
Yes, you get coconuts like off the like street carts and stuff. Like
I do not like coconut. Otherwise, yes,
I
I
don't like
would have.
coconut either, but like coconut water,
Can't do it.
refreshing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like everyone on my program loved it. Like that was great.
But you were like, no, I'm good.
I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I was like, I remember seeing like we were at the beach and there was this woman like selling bracelets for, I don't know, like $5. And the currency like transfer to an American dollar to like Costa Rica currency is like insane. And so it's like, she sells it for $5. And I'm like, she's a millionaire at the end of the day. I'm like, that is crazy. Like, that is genius. Like, this woman is a genius because that's so cheap.
for $5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because everyone in America is like, oh my God, that's so cheap. Like $5, like for a bracelet on the beach, like 100%.
Perception.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, that's a millionaire. I'm like, she's a millionaire. It's
just like, it says pure Viet on it. And you're like, all right,
yeah.
bang,
Oh my-
$5.
exactly.
Done.
People ate that up.
Yeah. Okay. Bucket list places.
Oh my gosh, such a good question. Switzerland. I love to go skydiving there. And
Never heard someone say that.
Really?
Is that like a thing? Skydiving in Switzerland?
Mm.
Or you just want to go skydiving while you're in Switzerland?
One of my friends who I went skydiving with in my senior year of high school, she recently went skydiving in Switzerland. And the video that she sent was like probably one of the most beautiful things that I've ever
With, like, the
seen.
mountains
With the
and-
mountains, the green. So I don't really ski. So I'm like, that's what I do.
For the bit.
Yeah.
For the story.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I do
I'd
want to
post.
skydive at some point. My
So good.
one of my cousins skydives like once a week.
Really?
And my grandma and my aunts
Mhm.
get so mad at him. They're so mad. They're like, do you want to die? I don't know what accent that was. They're fucking from Indiana. I don't know why I was.
Oh no, that sounds like a really. I thought I'm like, that's a really good Indian
Russian,
accent.
I think. You think this scary neighborhood?
Vodka, bear.
Vodka, walk. I can't do it. I saw one video about like accents. I tried to do it once, didn't work. It was like Australians in the middle.
I cannot.
British is down low.
That's pretty good.
Americans up here.
I took
Red,
an
white, and blue. Get some core.
took an access and dialects class when I was in theater.
Yeah.
Didn't stick with me. Still can't do a single one. I can do
It's hard.
Southern.
Southern?
Yeah, that's
So
pretty
you're
much
Southern.
it. Let's see. Well, darling, I'm just going to head on down to the farm and get some sweet tea. Are you putting this in the podcast? Because you're really should, darling.
Oh my sugar.
Sugar.
That is good.
Thank
That's
you.
legit.
Yeah. I got like, what they call them? Lightning bugs and not fireflies.
Lightning bug.
Lightning bugs.
Lightning bug. Catching lightning bug.
Mm-hmm.
Check if it's still there.
Yeah.
That's good. Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Where else?
Thailand.
Same.
I don't know really bad.
I was gonna go. Quick side note.
Mhm.
I had a trip scheduled to China right before COVID hit. I was scheduled to be in China in May, and COVID hit in March,
Wow.
which would have been insane.
That would have been
I
insane.
get stuck in China for COVID.
That would have been crazy, but also I would love to go visit China.
Yes.
I have two family friends who are there right now, and their photos are just insane. They're living there for the next 2 years, and I'm like super jealous. Like,
trying to convince my group chat to go to Japan in August.
I'll go Japan and
Like,
China,
In August,
100%.
Cam's
Hope-
on the edge.
Whole Penny's coming too.
Yeah.
Just let you know. Because we were,
I think it'd be a good time.
oh, Penny's always a good time.
Penny's always a good time. Oh, man. I can just have us three running around in Japan.
I think it's perfect.
It'd be chaotic. It'd be so. Us at a karaoke bar.
Done.
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 Just like extrovert, extrovert. It's
All doing English karaoke.
all
Or
like
like,
English karaoke.
we're not doing justice for the American culture if we show up over there. They're going to be like Americans.
No, but they'll know we're a fun time.
That is true. They know we're a good time.
We can pretend we're British. We can pretend we're British. See what happens.
That's true. I don't know if they hate us more because of it. We'll
I guess
see.
we're more authentic if we're British. Technically, I don't know.
I would say China and Japan are definitely on my bucket list, but I say Switzerland. Oh, I've also been to Paris. I forgot about that.
I forgot I was in Paris.
Forgot I was in Paris. I would say I love to see the Great Barrier Reef in Australia.
Yes.
That would be huge for me.
Yep.
Before all our sunscreen kills it.
Before it died.
It's- before it is no longer great and it's just the
I
barrier
love New
reef.
Zealand.
Mm-hmm. I would also love to see New Zealand. And I would say in Latin America, there's so many countries that I want to visit. I would love to see Mexico City. I've never been to Mexico.
Same.
So I don't want to go to just like to the popular like Cabo and places like that, which are beautiful and popular for a reason, but like Mexico City to go.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Rio during
Jamie, can you look that up? Oh yeah, I can. Carnival.
Carnival. I would kill to see that. I
That
think
would be
that
so
is like
fun.
one of the coolest things
Yep.
ever. I would also love to see Machu Picchu. I would love to see Ecuador, the Galapagos Islands, all that good stuff. Pretty much there's nowhere in the country that I wouldn't want to go,
Yes.
which is unfortunate because there's some places that you just can't go.
As an ambassador, though, you probably get to travel, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool. I would
Yeah.
love to go to Russia. I really love to go
I
see
don't know. Is
Moscow.
now a good time to go to Russia?
It's never usually a good
No.
time to go.
You gotta be quick. You gotta be quick in
Everybody's-
Russia. You gotta be in and out.
And no bags either. You just got to like show up.
No bags, fast for 10 days.
Show up. I'm just like, look at Moscow, head out.
Just do a flyover.
Nope, can't do those.
You like just take a private jet.
I think you double get shot down if you were in a private jet.
Good point. It's a good point. Sneak in. No.
Mm-mm. It's just pretty much.
Pretend to be British. I think you have to pretend not to be American. Because they have more power that way. They have more negotiating power that way. Like, no, I'm from Switzerland.
Yeah, yeah. You have
Swedish.
to be
I'm Swedish. Finland.
Yeah. Oh no,
You
I'm
in a sauna.
from Greenland. That's why I have a neutral accent.
Oh, is that true?
Actually, I have no idea.
The saunas come from Finland? I don't know.
Dishonest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I feel it in my heart.
But that's partially the reason I want to be like potentially like public speaking, like professional speaker one day, is because you can travel so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the flexibility of like your technical like work days are like only 50 days. Like if you're like good,
Mm-hmm.
so then you can go travel more, which I think is sick.
That would be so cool. I would love to travel more than what I'm already doing, especially when you're in your 20s. Or just, you
Now's
know.
the time to do it when you don't have responsibilities.
Yeah. My roommate likes to say that she's like, when you have the time, you don't have the money. And when you have the money, you don't have the time.
Yep.
So do it broke.
And
It's
more,
just,
more memories if you do it broke too.
exactly.
On hostels and whatnot.
Oh my God. I have had so many experiences in hostels. I've gotten bed bugs. I have showed up to this one super sketchy Airbnb. The only dishes that they had were wine glasses. So ate everything out of them.
Nice.
Cereal, fries,
Nice.
whole shebang,
Yeah.
out of wine glasses.
Steak at a wine glass.
Yeah, pretty much was so broke that I only ate cheese and bread
That's
because it was the cheapest thing in the grocery store.
yeah.
So I went and I got cheese and bread, and that's what I lived off when I was in Paris.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, which is funny because my dad used to say he did the same thing. He was super broke when he went traveling, and so I was just kind of on the
They have
same
like
thing.
$1 wine in like Italy too, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Italy would also be on the bucket list.
Italy was I'm trying to convince my parents because when I graduate college, my brother graduates high school. So we're trying to do like convince like a Europe trip.
Grad trip.
That's the hope.
Oh yeah, that'd be huge.
That'd be so much fun. But Japan
Jealous.
next year. Sick.
Mhm. I'm super excited.
So Japan. So Japan.
So
So
Japan.
traveling. So Japan.
It's so Japan.
Let's talk more about Japan. So traveling is fun.
Mhm.
Traveling is a good thing.
Yes.
What challenges are you facing right now in life? Either serious or casual or
That is a great. We kind of talked about this, but superficially, it's hard with internships. Having to be let go from one that I was really excited about and one that was really going to be super important in my career field. And now just kind of like starting over is really hard. It's
Yeah.
really hard when you had something so good. And I applied to everything in like October, August, and now I'm like completely starting fresh and deadlines have already passed. And,
Yeah.
you know, getting rejection letters from like this one like dumb place that's like literally like for other tour guides. And I'm like, I have such a great job at like
yes.
one of the best places in the country. And now I can't even get a tour guide job. Like it's
Yeah.
literally like, I'm like, it's fine. It's like, you know,
I've had that. I like the consulting group on campus is like 15% acceptance rate.
Mm.
Same time I applied to that, I played the real estate group.
Mm.
I think 80%. I got into the consulting group. I didn't get in the real estate group, and I was like, "What the fuck?" It's like you
who
guys.
did this?
It's like you guys need to be communicating more.
Do you guys get the same papers?
I was like, OCG, you need to send your list of people to them, and then that's like an auto in.
Exactly. Like I don't like. I would just find that super interesting. But I always see that as like, okay, like that's divine intervention of some kind that I'm meant to be, you know, not there.
Yeah.
So on a deeper level, college really took a turn for me last January when my father passed away. And it's, gosh, navigating school while also navigating with grief is not for the weak. It is incredibly difficult to do. It just kind of is very consuming.
Yeah.
And also you have no control over it. So like some days are really easy, some days are really hard. Some days you have 3 meetings and a podcast and XYZ. And it's just like your mind is just saying today,
Yeah.
which sucks because, you know, you want to do that stuff and you care about that stuff. But at the same time, it's like you're dealing with both. So it's just holding space for both is hard to learn how to do while also be present and professional. And also like knowing how to like push yourself, but then also giving yourself grace.
It was last January.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think it took you to kind of get back to like normal operating? That makes sense.
Yeah. If you asked me this question, he'd pass away like on January 7th. If you asked me on like January 10th, I would be like, oh, I am back to normal. Looking back, it's, I was not even close. I went right back to class. I think after.
And you knew it was coming, right?
Yeah, my dad had stage 4 brain cancer, he had 2 glioblastomas. Our first sign of it was short-term memory loss right after he came to visit me during my first year on campus. And so it was during Thanksgiving is when his short-term memory loss became very prevalent. And then we got the diagnosis. And so I tried to get home out of finals for it, and the school said no. So thanks, Oregon. So I spent my whole winter term, my first year, pretty much in the hospital and like figuring out what, life was going to look like from here. If I should drop out of school, what are the next best steps? It's different when you have grief that you're like expecting. It's still, obviously, you're unprepared for it when it hits either way. But when you're expecting it, it makes it a little bit better. So like I knew I was probably going to go back to school. I was going to do all this. But I have such a great support system here. Living in a sorority house, I honestly was a little scared to go through such a hard experience and then having to be around 50 women every single day. But I got back and I had so many flowers on my desk and I had care packages and I had so many fantastic things from the women that I was living with that I'm very grateful that I did go back to school right away because my family members were all dealing with it. So it's like, we weren't giving care packages for each other. Yeah. So I'm grateful that I went back. And funny enough, one of the first people that I talked with when I got back, he was in my class. His name was Charlie. He was an old SNU president. And he had a brother pass away due to cancer as well. And he was like, I can't believe you're here right now. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm really here either. But like, where else would I be? Like, what else do I have to do? Because it's like when you're in class, it feels wrong. You're like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, my dad passed away. Like, I should be with my family. I should be XYZ. But then like, you're with your family and you're just sitting there and, talking about how he's dead. It's like, okay, like I should be in class. Like, I should be doing stuff. I should be like, like he's not here, but I am. So it's, there's just no right thing to do. And I never knew what was best. And so there's like no right move to do. But sorry for my tangent, but going back to your question about when I got back to normal, or just got used to my reality was, I would say up until spring term of last year, I would say. Because looking back on winter term, I was like, dealing with the best that I could, but I don't remember a lot from winter term. I think that is part of like grief is like they say now is like memory loss, which is funny because my dad had memory loss and I'm like, all right. But no, I don't remember a lot from winter term. It's all kind of a blur. And I think that's like speaks really true to like how much I was just like trying to get through day to day. While also my first day back, I joined an executive council and I had no idea what I was doing and nobody knew. And I was just trying to get by. But I'd say spring term is when I kind of got settled into like my new reality and I was able to like get by without it being so crippling in a sense.
I'm sorry about that. I remember hearing about this.
Yeah. If you have any more questions.
I had one more.
Yeah.
For people who are maybe going through something similar or like something similar is coming up, what advice do you have for someone who's kind of like to deal with the grief, like looking back? Is there a way to deal with the grief?
Find your support system of people who have also had family members pass away. I met some of the most, and I think that's why sorority life is also something that I value because as soon as I posted about it on my story, I'm a pretty private person, but I did post that my dad passed away because when you are in sorority life and you live with 50 women, it's pretty hard like telling every single person that like this big event happened in your life. So I was like, honestly, like social media is just kind of easier in this sense.
One and done.
Yeah. And I was like, boom, everyone knows. Yeah, stay clear. Here she comes up the stairs. Leave her alone. And but one of our seniors reached out who I wasn't that close with. Her name was Erin. And she was like, my dad passed away when I was living in the house. Like, can I take you out for coffee? Huge. That was really big. And then I met another woman named Sky who was in the membership class below me and she lost her brother to cancer. And so it was like finding people who get it makes such a big difference.
Find your support. Find someone who's been through it.
Find someone who's been through it. Make connection in that sense. My roommates are the best people I've ever met in my life. And they've never experienced anything like this, but they're incredibly empathetic and supportive women. So I'm very happy that I'm around them, but definitely those connections of people who have gone through it is it's just finding community, because it's like there's really like no advice to how to get through it. And each situation is so different, and your relationship with that person is so different. Like, I would probably have completely different advice if it was my mom or if it was my sibling or something like that. So I think it depends on your relationship with the person, and it depends on how they passed. And because each grief is different. Grief feels the same for everyone, but it's like how it kind of takes over is different. And so I think the best way to get through it is finding people who get it. So it's like, that's why, grief counselors and like those like group therapy where like people like talk about their experiences are so important, are so impactful, because I didn't really understand it until I was like a part of, I guess, like that dad club, that I was like, oh, I see so much value more in this community. And I had another member in my chapter, she lost a parent or a sibling. And I texted them and I was like, hey, can we like meet for coffee? Like I totally like you doing the same thing that Aaron then did to me. Cause it's like finding those people is like super important when you're in college, especially if you're coming from out of state and it's like you're so
Isolated.
far from them. It's so tough. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say. It's the best advice I give, is just find community.
Switching to a happier note. What's something that's going on or gonna happen that excites you, right?
Recruitment.
Recruitment.
I would say, I'm sure there's anything else that I can think of. That's not.
For anyone listening, she is running all of recruitment at Oregon for sororities. Very important person. Want to get into a top sorority. She does take bribes.
There is no top sorority.
If you want to get into one of the 11, because there's 11 sororities, top sororities, she does take bribes.
I would say the thing that it's true, I do. Especially for lottery tickets. I would say probably the thing that I'm most excited for right now is upcoming. For spring break, I'm going to Hawaii with my roommates, and we are probably the 3 most busiest people that I know. And so we don't get to spend a lot of time to each other, which is why I'm really happy we're roommates, because if we were just friends, I would never see them. So I'm really excited that we're going to spend time together in Hawaii. And then I would say past that, looking into the future, I'm really excited for what my summer is going to look like, because I don't know what it's going to look like, which is the first time I haven't know what I'm doing for a summer. So I'm really, really excited to see where I end up. And then I would say past that is recruitment. Incredibly excited for recruitment. As someone who didn't want to be in sorority life and now is running the whole shebang, it's really funny to me. The irony is not lost on me. And I think a recruitment process is like such a fantastic and important time in young people's lives, because it's either the first real rejection that they face, which is, start them young. This is what rejection feels like.
Yeah.
Because it sucks then when it's your job or when it's your blank, and it's like when it's older in life, but it's like you're going to have to get used to rejection pretty fast. It sucks that it's recruitment and then I have to deal with it, but that's why what makes recruitment so great, is because it's like preparing you for the real world.
Yeah.
And then also getting your conversational skills better, learning how to do small talk. And so it's like, I know this is going to be such a pivotal point in a lot of people's lives, even if they choose not to end up in a chapter at the end, which I totally understand. This is not for everyone. And it's pretty small here, so it's no big deal.
Not that small. 3,500 people.
In total. So not just like for Panhellenic, but only like 17%. When I have
It's not the South.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I have friends like TCU, 80%.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy. So I'm just really excited to make it hopefully a better experience than it has. It's not going to be a perfect recruitment. I don't think there's such thing, but I'm making it better than it was last year. And the person who's coming in to take my position after me is going to make it even better. And that's really exciting to be a part of something that's going to continuously get better.
Yeah. Get to pass the torch on, or like take it to the next level.
Exactly.
That's fun. Ava, we have a closing tradition on this podcast that comes directly from my favorite show, The Diary of a CEO. For the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who they're leaving a question for. And the question that has been left for you is, what is a moment in your life where you faced adversity and how did you overcome it?
Do you have an answer for this?
I don't even think it wasn't even like big adversity. It was more just like tons of little adversity that just kind of had a lot of wear and tear. Or like there was a lot of me junior year of high school that had all these aspirations, some of which were cheesy and unrealistic, and some of which I felt like were realistic. Like maybe like so-and-so girl that I thought liked me didn't like, doesn't want to go out with me.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. But like it happens like a few times. You get really annoyed, right?
Yeah.
Or you're like, oh, I'm gonna like play varsity basketball, and you're like, oh, that's not gonna work out. Damn. Or like, this is my year on the golf team. Like stupid stuff, which like looking back isn't that important, but like in the moment really hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say I've never had like the big tragedies, but there have been times. I'm a very ambitious person.
Mm.
And early on, when I didn't really understand, like when I didn't have the thicker skin, it hurt to like consistently get burned, right? Before you have that kind of harder shell, like, oh, that's part of the game.
That's a great way to put it. I would say when I was in middle school, my mom got remarried and I got 3 new bonus siblings, so we call them, or step siblings. And that's hard they're great. They're fabulous. Love them. But it's hard when you have 2 completely different ways of growing up, ways of, just honestly like different like family cultures. Like each family has its own culture of around holidays, around food, around dinner time, around consequences. So it's like having these 2 very different families of how they've grown up kind of come together. That was hard. Like for example, like my mom, honestly, like I really appreciate that as a kid.
Yeah.
It's like I did not need any more sugar than what I had. And so, but like my step family, it's like Lucky Charms, Rice Krispies. Like, oh my gosh, like having that in the house, I was like, this is crazy. Like, I'm like, the world is over. XYZ happened. What happened? Like my mom's been replaced, Cure, like, what are the R.L. Stein books?
Yeah.
The Goosebumps. Like my mom's been replaced. There's Lucky Charms in the cabinet.
Yeah, like existential crisis. Like, has my mom been lying to me?
I'm like, so you can buy these. Your card does work when you purchase Lucky Charms.
They're like, off with the king and queen. The queen must go.
I was like, what? Or like those Loft House cookies, like the pink icing. Like, I was like, what are these doing?
You're like a drug addict. You're like, you like grab one, you go to your room, you're like huddled around it. You're like, precious.
I'm like, these will never come past. So I would say that was like adversities, like just kind of, but I think it really prepared me, and it probably was one of my first cues that I would love global studies and I would love cultural competency and like meeting other people with different, walk a mile in their shoes kind of thing. So it's like, I'm really grateful for that experience. And it's like also, we became really close during COVID because like we would play sardine, like having 6 people to play tag, sardines, hide and seek, game changing.
As a game person from a game family, that would be my dream.
It was a dream. I loved it. Loved every second of it.
We were always like 3 or 4 person, right? It's like me, my dad, my brother would play a lot of games. 6 people.
Huge. And we're all the same age, which is nice.
Really?
Yeah.
That is nice.
So the youngest is a senior in high school, and then the oldest is 24.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
24 to like 18.
18. That's the age range.
That's perfect. 6 of you.
Perfect. It was seriously like, I'm very, very blessed to have such a fantastic like step siblings who were as down.
Still around.
Yeah. Who were like as down to, hang out and play as much as we were. So we would like, honestly, like we would like grab our bikes and go around the neighborhood. We get like our skateboards and do all this. And like,
what age were you when they joined?
We met them I was in 7th grade, and my mom's wedding was in 8th grade. So I don't even.
So in high school.
Yeah. It's like 12, 13. And so that was like adversity, was like just kind of like dealing with that as a family. And then also it's like being a team player in that sense. Cause it's like, obviously you're not like a parent in the household, but it's like, you're still a team player, and you're still like, you make or break this family with like how well you want to be a team player. So I would say like changing my direction of like, that's not how we do it. And like, it's like change, and being like open to like, this is what my family's going to look like now. This is what holidays are going to look like now. This is, XYZ. And so,
yes, and.
Yep, exactly. Yes, and. And so that was like pretty huge, was I think like the biggest adversity that I faced was doing that. And then that's how I overcame it, which is like learning how to be a team player and learning how to just kind of roll with the punches, go with the flow. Those are going to take you very far in life if you choose to live by those sayings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. This was fun.